Here are some interesting facts about America and Americans. Americans consume 3 billion pizzas in total per year. The current flag of the USA was designed by a 17-year-old student named Robert Heff as part of a high school project. He originally got a B for his design, but his grade was changed to an A after President Eisenhower selected his flag as the official one. GPS is controlled and owned by the American government and can be switched off at any time. The United States is the only country that has all of Earth's 5 climate zones: tropical, dry, temperate, continental, and polar. Lake Superior, on the United States-Canada border, is the largest body of freshwater in the world by surface area. It covers 31,700 square miles. The Pentagon, the headquarters of the Department of Defense, is the world's largest office building by floor area. It has 17.5 miles of corridors and covers 34 acres of land. The only people to have walked on the moon's surface were Americans. 12 men have achieved this feat, starting with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin in 1969 and ending with Gene Cernan and Jack Schmitt in 1972. The United States is home to nearly 45 million immigrants, more than any other country in the world. About 14% of the U.S. population is foreign-born. Much of the music the world listens to — jazz, rock and roll, hip-hop, country, folk, R&B, soul, and gospel — comes out of the United States. The U.S. film industry is the largest, oldest, and most profitable film industry in the world. It generated about $33 billion in 2019. America is the fattest country in the world, with 33% of the people being overweight and 66% believed to be obese. About 40% of births in the USA are from unmarried women. America is the top natural gas producer in the world. It produced about 920 billion cubic meters of natural gas in 2019. Slightly more than 69% of firefighters in the USA are volunteers. NASA, exploring space. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is responsible for conducting research and exploration in space. NASA has launched many satellites, probes, rovers, and spacecrafts to study various aspects of the solar system and beyond. NASA also operates the International Space Station, ISS, a permanent orbiting laboratory where astronauts conduct experiments and tests. The United States is one of the most diverse countries in the world. It has people from different ethnicities, races, religions, cultures, languages, and backgrounds. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, there are 6 major racial groups in America: white, black or African American, American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, and some other race. There are also many people who identify as Hispanic or Latino, which is an ethnic group rather than a racial one. The U.S. Census Bureau estimates that by 2060, more than half of the U.S. population will be people of color. The United States is a federal republic with a presidential system of government. This means that there are 3 branches of government: the executive, headed by the president; the legislative, consisting of Congress; and the judicial, comprising of courts. The president is elected every 4 years by an indirect system called the Electoral College. Each state has a number of electors equal to its number of representatives and senators in Congress. The candidate who wins a majority of 270 electoral votes becomes president. The president appoints cabinet members, judges, ambassadors, and other officials with the consent of the Senate. The president can also veto bills passed by Congress, but Congress can override a veto with a 2/3 majority vote in both houses. The United States has 50 states and a federal district, Washington, D.C. Each state has its own constitution, laws, governor, legislature, and courts. The states have varying degrees of autonomy and power, but they are subject to the supremacy of the federal government. The states are also divided into smaller units called counties, cities, towns, villages, and other local governments. The federal district is not a state, but a special territory that serves as the seat of the federal government. It is governed by a mayor and a council, but Congress has the ultimate authority over it. The United States is one of the founding members of the United Nations, UN, an international organization that aims to promote peace, security, cooperation, and human rights among nations. The U.S. is also one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, which has the power to authorize sanctions, peacekeeping missions, and military actions. The U.S. is also a member of many other international organizations and alliances, such as NATO, NAFTA, WTO, WHO, IMF, World Bank, and G7. The United States is one of the most influential and powerful countries in the world. It has the world's largest economy, with a gross domestic product, GDP, of about $21 trillion in 2019. It also has the world's largest military, with a budget of about $732 billion in 2019. The U.S. is a global leader in science, technology, innovation, education, culture, entertainment, sports, and media. The U.S. is also a major donor of foreign aid and humanitarian assistance to other countries. The United States is a country of immigrants and a melting pot of cultures. Many Americans can trace their ancestry to other countries and regions of the world. Some of the most common ancestries in America are German, Irish, English, African, Mexican, Italian, French, Polish, Scottish, and Native American. Americans celebrate their heritage and diversity through various festivals, parades, holidays, foods, music, art, and languages.